We don't dim, we don't shrink, we don't play small. Stand tall, stand proud, let them feel it all. Take up space, step into your power.
Welcome back to Chat with 6'4" Goddess, where we create conversations that empower women to take up space unapologetically. I'm your host, Anna Shea, also known as 6'4" Goddess, and today's guest is the definition of discipline, leadership, and excellence. She's a valedictorian, a former WNBA champion, an elite athlete, and now one of the most respected coaches in women's basketball as an assistant coach at Texas A&M University. But beyond the accolades, she represents resilience, evolution, and what it truly means to lead with both confidence and purpose. Today, I'm so excited to be sitting down with Chelsea Newton. Chelsea, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad you reached out. It was a pleasure meeting you at the Final Four. We had a blast.
Yeah, it was a really good time. And I
Yeah.
have to say, I was just so thankful for the opportunity to just go and also to meet like-minded individuals that are just there to enjoy a good time
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
a great championship. Because that was
Yeah.
really I think that was the best one, at least for me, that I had seen as far as just I don't know. I guess it was because of who was playing.
Yeah. It's the energy in the building. Energy in the building. Like the Final Four has been probably for a few years now. I at least say the last 7 or 8 years. It used to be where it was always the same consistent winner. And so since those years where it's switched up, South Carolina took the reins, LSU won one. Like it's just you go with the unknown, not knowing who's gonna win. So the energy changes in the building.
Yep, and I think that was what made it all so
Yeah,
it was just like, what? You had to be there. You just had to be
yeah,
there. So
yeah.
I was thankful to be in the room. But Chelsea, you are a valedictorian, WNBA champion, and now one of the most respected coaches in women's basketball. Was there ever a moment that you realized your discipline would take you further than talent alone?
Ooh, I think that's a great question. I think in the moment I wasn't processing this as discipline. I just really, I wanted to be all A, get all A's. I didn't want to see anybody else be valedictorian. So it was more competitiveness than it was anything else. Even for basketball, it was just, I love playing basketball. And so my competitiveness in the classroom, loving playing basketball, it I mean, I can't say it fell in my lap because I worked for it, but I don't even think I processed discipline. This is what my life was. You know what I mean? But I'm grateful coming from Monroe, Louisiana, that this is, that I had the opportunities that I had and just tried to take advantage of them.
Yeah, because I'm like, you're acting like, that's easy to do, to get a good grade and to you have to study.
Listen, I mean, I registered, like I told somebody, I was like, I think I want to say a senior in high school, and I had this my English teacher. Well, she was my GT teacher I had her for like 3 or 4 courses. She was also the same teacher that told me I was going to Rutgers, like
Oh,
because it was ultimately down to LSU and Rutgers, and I was like, I think I want to stay close to home. And
okay.
she pulled me aside and was like, "You're going to New Jersey." And I'm like, "Okay." But I tell people the story like she would give us novels every month or whatever. And we would just sit on it and she'll say, read chapters 1 through 5. We'll have, a test on it. She gave us one particular book and never said, read chapters 1 through 18, 1 through 10, nothing. She just came down one day and said, you have a final tomorrow for the entire book. And that was the first time I pulled an all-nighter in the 12th grade. So I stayed up and read that book. I refused to not get an A in that on that particular test, but also in that class. And I tell people all the time, I was like, yeah, I pulled an all-nighter in high school. And they look at me like I'm crazy, but it was just, I don't know, I had a drive in me.
You definitely do and did. Because you still over here driving forward, trying to beat the next, trying to reach you're trying to reach the next elevation. I feel like, you never seem to just be happy with where you're at. You gotta keep striving for more, greater. And it
Yeah,
ain't gotta be that you're not happy with where you're at. You're more so
yeah.
just striving for greater. That's just
It's crazy because I sometimes I like even coaching. Coaching was not something I wanted to do. It was not anything that I wanted to do. It wasn't, I was still playing, and Coach Stringer would call me every year and say, "You done playing? Because you should be coaching." And I'm like, "No." Next conversation. And one year we went to the Final Four, 2006, 2007, and I needed to have like a knee surgery or something like that in between WNBA seasons. And I was like, all right, I'll come for a season. It was a year we went to the national championship, so it was a cool year. But then when I got done, I was like, yeah, nah, coaching's not for me. And so I kept playing more.
Hmm.
And then when I decided to retire, I called her. I was like, I think I'm interested. And probably a month later, a position came open on her staff, and she hired me right away. And I've been doing it ever since. It's been 17 years. So
Okay, well, you definitely don't regret that decision. Good for you and
it
her.
it's crazy, but I promise you, I wasn't like, oh yeah, I want to coach. No, it
No.
wasn't. And
Okay.
then, so here we are.
Okay, I'm gonna have to get back to that because
Yeah, here we are.
I definitely am curious as to how's it going now, but obviously it's going great.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you though that, or it's more so just a observation. You've experienced success at like
Hmm.
multiple levels, and I think people underestimate how much identity changes through growth. And you've transitioned from player to coach at a
Right.
very high level. So, what has that evolution taught you about identity, pressure, and personal growth?
Yo, oh, that's a great question because I think for so long, a lot of athletes, their identity is in basketball, it's in what they do. And so, and some of that, like, and that wavers. If it's going well, you look at yourself like, oh, I'm the best thing ever. If it's not going well, you look at yourself like I'm the worst thing ever. So I learned, I can't say early on, it has been an up and down process because there's still a struggle. But I try to stay true to the idea that my identity comes through Christ, in Christ, and not in what I do, how I do, what it's, what I mean, like the ups and downs of this business of life will have you wavering so much. So I just find myself trying to stay as even keel as possible through the highs and the lows. I mean, Texas A&M, we went through a rough season this year. I mean, we went 1-8 in the beginning of the SEC play,
Hmm.
and it was rough. And then we finished it out, really well. But I think if we've all found, because our staff is pretty similar in this, if we all found our identity in what we do, I think we would have been really shaken during those times. So I would say my evolution has been my spiritual growth
Hmm.
through all things. You know what I mean? My spiritual growth has allowed me to be more even keeled in what I do. To, we also have a saying, be where your feet are, to be present where I am, regardless of what's happening around me, and to be able to help the young ladies that I coach every single day to realize something more than just basketball, more than academics, more than what's in front of them, but to just find their spiritual well-being as well.
I love that. That's real talk. Spiritual well-being is the ground foundation.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
good on you. And do you ever feel anything like emotionally difficult about leaving the player version of yourself behind? Was there anything difficult
No.
about that? No?
Yeah, no. When it was time for me, I was in training camp. So I was, let's say I was my fifth season. This was going into it would have been my sixth season. And I knew at the end of that particular season that I more than likely was going to retire. At the end of my WNBA, at the end of my Italian season overseas, I knew that this was going to be my last WNBA season. I was like, all right, I'm done. And so I was already sort of transitioning. Like I could feel I had a lot of injuries, you know what I mean, from my college career until professional. Like I never even thought I would make it professionally just because of all the injuries I had.
Mm.
And so everything afterwards was a blessing. So every year that I played after college, I was like, oh, this is crazy. And so I lasted 5 years professionally. So for me, I was always transitioning because I knew this isn't something I wanted to do long term, and I knew my body couldn't handle it. So like I said, I was in training camp at Seattle Storm. It's actually 2010 is the year they won that world championship.
Hmm.
And I was considered a defender, aggressive, all over the floor. And I was day two of training camp, and the ball rolled past me in a defensive drill, and I just looked at it. Like
Hmm.
normally I would have pounced on that, body on the floor, all over the place. And I realized then, like, yeah, I'm done. So I walked right into the office and was like, "Hey, coach, I can't do it." He had been trying to get me to come to Seattle for the last couple of years, and I was just like, I think this is it. So that transition from uh, playing to retiring, and then a month later becoming a coach, there were moments where I still like had like desires to play, but not professionally, but just to go play pickup, and I got it out my system. And
Mhm.
so through pickup, playing in practice and things of that nature. I've never, people ask me all the time, do you wish you still played? No, no, no. When I retired, I knew I was done. And there was nothing in me that was like, man, I wish I still was doing this. I just wanted to continue to be around the sport. And so that's helped me transition. I never had that issue where some people wish they were still playing. Never had that issue.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
As a woman in leadership, confidence can sometimes intimidate people. So, have you ever felt misunderstood simply because of your standards, your
Oh yeah.
confidence, or your presence?
Always. And I'm on the more aggressive side too. You know what I mean? Like I
I believe
say
that.
I say what I feel, and sometimes I do say it a little too aggressive. I probably should learn to, put a little sugar on it, but sometimes it's just like I gotta say what I need to say and get it over with. And I don't mind you saying what you need to say to me that way as well. Like I'm not somebody that takes offense to having a difficult conversation or an aggressive conversation, as long as you're respectful, right?
Yep.
And so I find myself having to just take a step back and just be a little quiet and let the room settle at times, just because I don't want to intimidate or I guess dissuade someone from speaking their opinion because of me. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I do find myself sometimes taking a step back.
Yeah, you definitely, I felt even with meeting you and talking to you for that short period of time, you can even, I don't even know if you know this, but it's like your aura is just like, don't say don't mess with me, but more so just like you better make sure whatever you come at me with, it needs to worth my time. Okay? Don't do that. And
Ah! And I promise you, I don't do it on purpose, but I'm like,
yeah.
you know,
And I'm not mad at it. I'm just saying to say it's good because I feel like people don't approach you all the time based on that. And that does help you to kind of weed out the people that ain't got really nothing to say other than to waste your time or to just be a nuisance. And that
yeah.
probably happens more than
Yeah, I struggle with small talk. And it is a struggle for me. I talk about it all the time in our office. Like it's like I exit. If Joni and I are together in the airport and somebody walks up to her and they're like talking about randomness, I won't be rude at all. But if it's a moment where I can exit out of the conversation, I am. And she always talks about me. She's like, "Yo, look at you," and I'm like, "Sorry."
well, at least they know who you are and you stay true. So they ain't surprised. It's like that's who she is. Look, don't even apologize for you. Look, just know she's going to do that.
Oh,
It's for your best interest. Is a constant pressure for women to be successful, but
mhm.
still make people comfortable. And by that,
Mm.
I just mean, us being tall women. How have you balanced femininity, confidence,
Mm.
and leadership?
Ooh. I think that's a great question. I must say that sometimes when you look at it, I feel like for me, like I have grown into my sensuality as a woman. You know what I mean? Like even still, because you still such a hooper. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just still just a basketball player, and you like And so I have to be honest. My being around my boss Joni for 11 years and watching her move and maneuver leadership, confidence, being the only black woman in a lot of rooms as a head coach in the SEC, and people in high places always wanting her advice. I watched her navigate COVID when nobody knew what to do. And she was navigating and bringing our entire university, at the time, University of Georgia, together and helping implement plans and SEC plans. It was incredible to watch. And so like I've learned a lot from her in walking in the rooms, being confident with who you are, embracing who you are. And then our staff still dresses up. right? Every single game. We are in high heels. We are in, our best. And it is truly impacted me in a sense, like I said, being able to balance all those things in the rooms and not cowering to anybody or anything for any reason. Because the one thing I learned, I think President Obama said this, somebody was interviewing him and he was just talking about how a lot of people in these Harvard classrooms, these boardrooms, these CEOs who talk like they know or act as if they know, don't know a thing. And so 90% of this is acting. But the reality of it is we have to know. And so we to make it our business to know and be knowledgeable. And so I'm very confident if I'm stepping in a room that I'm supposed to be in, that I know what I'm talking about.